Hey, shalom, Most High in Christ bless. You are now tuned into IUIC in the classrooms. This is IUIC Austin, and I am Officer Asahel. Today's class is titled, Hast Thou Daughters? Hast Thou Daughters? From the womb to the wedding. All right? That's what we're going to be dealing with. We're going to be dealing with raising up our daughters in righteousness, pulling them out of the world, and bringing them back into this truth under these laws, statutes, and commandments, so that we can have a righteous nation. All right? So let's get right into it. We're going to start with Isaiah chapter 46.
The book of Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning.
He said doing what?
Declaring the end from the beginning.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow in the blueprint of the instructions that the Most High gave us. He said he declared the end from the beginning. Many of you that if you're in professional fields, maybe you're an engineer, you've maybe heard the term reverse engineering or backwards planning. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to where we want to be a finish point. And then we're going to go backwards, and we're going to deal with the steps on how we get this finish point. Our finish point is rebuilding our nation, right? And how do we do that? We're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to deal with the very first thing that began, which was a marriage, okay? Beginning with Adam and with Eve. That's where it all began, okay? Finish the verse.
Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
So the counsel is the word of God. It's this Bible. Everything that's written in here, it shall stand, and it will not fail. All right? So let's get into it. We're dealing with raising daughters, right? Hast thou daughters. Let's get that scripture. Let's get that scripture. All right? Sirach 7 and 24. I just want to read that because that's what this class is based on.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 7 and verse 24. Hast thou daughters? Have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them.
So that's what the class is based upon. Us having daughters and the responsibility of fathers, mothers, the congregation, the leaders, of raising righteous daughters in this truth. All right? Why was a woman created? What is the purpose of a woman? Let's go back to the beginning. Let's start with 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 8.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man.
Read it again.
For the man is not of the woman.
So man did not come from woman, not initially. All right, read.
But the woman of the man.
Women came from man. That's what woman means, of man. Read.
Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man.
So that is the purpose of the woman. She was created for the man. Now let's get a little more into her creation and her purpose. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 2, and we're going to read verse 18. Let me get there. All right, go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone.
So God didn't want man to be alone. Adam was put there in the garden. He was dealing with the animals, naming them, establishing, his dominion. And Most High looked at him and said, you know what? It's not good. The Lord looked at him and said, it's not good that man should be alone. Read.
I will make him and help meet for him.
He said, I'm going to make a helper that's fitting for him, that is meet for him. So let's see how that happened. Jump back a chapter 1 and verse 27.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female.
Male and female, that's very important. He didn't create male and male, female and female. He created male and female. That is completion. Read.
Male and female created he them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply.
Be what?
Be fruitful and multiply. And replenish the earth and subdue it.
Okay, just going to stop right there. So understand this. When God made Eve, took him from Adam's rib, closed up the rib, and then brought her to Adam. So the purpose of that was so that man would not be alone, that he would have a help that was fitting for him, a help that was meet for him. All right. So now today we go about looking for our ribs ourselves because, you know, the Most High is back in his place and we're here because of our iniquity. So now we're kind of looking for our own ribs. All praises to the Most High under the guidance of our leadership. You know, they've set up the instructions based on their understanding of the scriptures, and they're guiding us on how to choose our wives today, how to prepare our daughters to become wives today. All right. So now, how do we go about raising righteous daughters? Well, at first, it begins with the womb that you choose to carry your daughter. All right. Give me Sirach 6 and 7.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 6 and verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first.
Read that again.
If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first.
So what does it mean to prove them first? That means you gotta go through some things. This isn't a rushed or a hurried process. You've got to take your time and get to know the sister that you're going to deal with, the sister that you're going to create life with, the sister that you're going to leave in charge of those young souls that the Most High blesses you with. You've got to prove a friend. Read on.
And be not hasty.
And be what?
Be not hasty.
Be not hasty.
To credit him.
And one thing that we find ourselves doing is a sister looks good. A sister is in the body for a few months and, well, let me put my bid in before somebody else makes a claim. Hey, we got to get these sisters chances to get their spirits and their souls right. We got to get them a chance to repent. And sisters, this goes the same for you. I'm speaking about raising righteous daughters, but sisters, y'all take this and apply this as well. If a brother just comes in, give that brother an opportunity to get his mind right as well. All right, read that one more time. If
thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him.
And the reason you want to do that is when it comes to picking a rib, when it comes to picking a future mother of your children, do you want to get the Anna or do you want to get the Jezebel? Right? Anna for Tobit, Jezebel for Ahab. Which rib do you want to get? All right. Why is that important? Ezekiel chapter 16. This is why it's important, because our environment plays a large part in shaping who we become, right? There's no greater environment than the household itself. Ezekiel chapter 16.
The book of Ezekiel chapter 16 and verse 44. Behold, every one that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter.
Read that last part.
As is the mother, so is her daughter.
So if you want to raise righteous daughters, you got to start with a righteous mother, a righteous woman, a righteous sister. You got to take your time and prove and make sure that this sister has that understanding that you have, that she truly loves the Lord, that she truly fears the Lord and the judgments of breaking his laws. All right. So I want to get a video. I want to start with our first video. All praises IT. Of some examples of parenting. All right. You tell me if this is a good parenting or bad parenting. You got that first one ready? All right, let's run it. Look at these young girls. They can't be more than 5. They can't 4 maybe 4. Look at them. Where would they learn this behavior from? Where would they learn all these, movements and motions? Where do you think they learn this stuff from? Read Ezekiel one more time. Read that one more time.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 16 and verse 44. Behold, everyone that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter.
I've never seen such ratchet behavior like that, except for in these last few years. This is how, unfortunately, our women are conducting themselves today. And guess what? They're passing that same ratchetness on to their daughters. Those kids might not even be in pre-K yet. And look at them with their juice box, throwing them up, flipping everybody off. It's ridiculous. It's a shame. All right. Hey, let me get that second video. Yep. So now let's enter a man. If you notice in the first video, it was just the 3 young girls, and you saw a woman standing beside the car. Let's enter a man, and let's see if it gets a little better. Read what you got, or play it.
So you went back in there and paid for a candy that she had already. So you went back in there and paid for a candy that she had already walked out the store with.
Yeah, she stole it.
Why would you do that? I would never do something like that. I would just leave.
It's called integrity.
Play that one more time, officer.
So you went back in there and paid for a candy that she had already walked out the store with.
Yeah, she stole it.
Why would you do that? I would never do something like that. I would just leave.
It's called integrity.
So now you enter a man into the picture. And what happened in this video is a young girl walks out of the store with something. And I don't know what the item was that she walked out of the store with. And the father goes back into the store and he pays for the item. And so the mother is saying, why would you do that? She's already walked out of the store. We got away clean. I would just leave. And the father said it's called integrity. So he's trying to instill in the daughter, in this child, righteousness. He's trying to teach her right from wrong. But the mother, no. That's why it's ultra important on the women that you choose to lay down with, because her mindset is going to become that daughter's mindset. That's the same right there. All right. So a lot of this mindset comes from the come up, getting a bag, getting away, stuff like that. So I want to deal with, let's go to Hosea. We're going to deal with a little prophecy, and we're going to deal with Hosea and his wife. And we're going to start with Hosea 2 and 5.
The book of Hosea, chapter 2 and verse 5.
Start at 4.
Verse 4. And I will not have mercy upon her children, for they be the children of whoredom.
So right there, I want you to think back on that video that we just saw. They be the children of whoredoms. Now, I don't know if they're married or not. I do not know. What I do know is where we once were as a nation leading all nationalities and demographics in marriage, we're now last. We are now dead last of all the other nations in our marriage percentages with black men and black women. So I'm not going to assume that they are or are not married. I'll let you all do that. But what I will say is children of whoredoms. Whoredom is spiritual and physical. Whoredom when you go against the laws of God, and whoredom when you go outside your marriage. All right, read verse 4 again.
And I will not have mercy upon her children.
Mercy would be in that girl learns that behavior of stealing, and guess what? Now she gets arrested, and there is no one to go in and pay for her item. Now she gets, maybe beat up in the store. Like we had this video a while back where the Chinese woman was beating up on the black women, in the beauty salon. Read.
For they be the children of whoredoms.
Read on.
For their mother had played the harlot.
The mother has played the harlot. Read.
She that conceived them had done shamefully.
And it was shameful, the lesson that she was trying to teach that young girl. That was a shameful lesson. I would have just left. Read on.
For she said, I will go after my lovers that give me my bread,
Uh-huh.
and my water,
Uh-huh.
my wool and my flax, mine oil and my drink.
So I'm going to go after the lovers. I'm going to go away from what God instructed me. I'm going to follow these other nations, these other doctrines. I'm going to do that because they are giving me what? What are the items they're giving?
I will go after my lovers that give me my bread
Uh-huh.
and my water, my wool and my flax, mine oil and my drink.
We were supposed to get all of that from the Most High. He said, if you follow me, he will provide for us all the things that we needed. But no, since we want to do wickedly and follow after others, you know, he said, go ahead. I'm going to leave you to your lovers. Go ahead and go to them. All right. So now we're dealing with righteous women and unrighteous women, the godly woman versus the harlot. All right. So how do we identify a harlot? How do we do that? Go back one chapter, Hosea chapter 1, verse 2 and 3.
The book of Hosea chapter 1 and verse 2. The beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said to Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of whoredom.
He said, do what?
Go, take unto thee a wife of whoredoms
Uh-huh.
and children of whoredoms. For the land had committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord.
All right, hold what you got right there. Hold what you got right there. Let's go to Hebrews 13. Let's go to Hebrews 13. Verse 4 when you get it.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4.
Read.
Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
So when we're married and we're doing things according to God, he said marriage is honorable and the bed is undefiled, right? Because if you lay down in a defiled bed, what's going to come out of it? Defiled children, unclean children, if you lay down in a defiled bed. Read it again.
Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
Read.
But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge.
How? How will God judge? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon real quick. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4 and verse 6.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4 and verse 6.
Read.
For children begotten of unlawful beds are witnesses of wickedness against their parents in their trial.
So it says children begotten of unlawful beds, meaning that they're not married. The parents are not married. They are the witnesses, meaning them being born is a witness to the wickedness, right? Now let's go back to right there. Let's go back one chapter and read verse 13.
So 3 and 13, sir?
Yes, sir.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 13. Their offspring is cursed.
Their offspring is cursed. Uh-huh.
Wherefore, blessed is the barren that is undefiled.
It's better to not have children than to raise them up wickedly. It's better to be barren. Read.
Which had not known the sinful bed.
Uh-huh.
She shall have fruit in the visitation of souls.
Read on. Meaning the visitation of souls, when we wake up, when we come back, she'll have her children when we come back, when we regenerate. Read on.
And blessed is the eunuch which with his hands had wrought no iniquity.
He couldn't do anything of a sexual immorality because he's a eunuch. So he's done no sexual sins. Read.
Nor imagined wicked things against God. For unto him shall be given the special gift of faith and an inheritance in the temple of the Lord, more acceptable to his mind.
Okay, read.
For glorious is the fruit of good labors, and the root of wisdom.
So glorious is the fruit of good labors. Good labors is I got married the right way, and then I had fruit that came of that. Read.
And the root of wisdom shall never fall away.
Because my children can look and say, my parents did it the right way. I'm going to emulate what my parents did. Let's finish it out. 16.
As for the children of adulterers, they shall not come to their perfection. And the seed of an unrighteous bed shall be rooted out.
So this is this is a warning for brothers and sisters when you are considering who you are going to parent with, who you're going to marry. You got to make sure that you are not picking someone of ill repute. Go back to Hosea 1 and verse 2 and 3.
The book of Hosea, chapter 1 and verse 2. The beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said to Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms. For the land had committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord.
Read on.
So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son.
Read verse 3 again.
So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim.
All right, stop right there. Notice it didn't say that he went and looked for a whoredom, a woman of whoredom. He didn't go and look for one. He went straight to Gomer. Why? Because people know Gomer. She for the streets. He knew exactly where to go. It didn't say he looked. It didn't say he inquired. He went straight to Gomer. And it says the daughter of Diblaim. So that means that this father was not raising his daughter according to the scriptures. All right. Let's see about another father who went that same route. Let's get 1 Samuel chapter 18.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 18 and verse
20.
And verse 20. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him.
So at this time, Saul had already began developing hatred for David because he saw that the favor of the people was on David. You know, Saul killed his thousands, David killed his 10,000s. Saul had already become jealous and already began hating on his brother David. Read it again.
And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him.
So Saul already knew what kind of daughter he had. Because just like Diblaim, I'm not saying that Michal was a whore, but just like Diblaim, he knew that he had not raised his daughter right because she would be a snare and a trap. Read.
And that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, thou shalt this day be my son-in-law, in the one of the twain.
So, like I said, Saul knew what type of daughter he had. Let's get further illustration on what type of woman Michal was. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 6. And let's see how she dealt. Chapter 6, verse 15.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 6 and verse 15.
Read.
So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. And as the ark of David of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord. And she despised him in her heart.
Now, I want you to think about that. David just went and recovered the ark. The ark. He just went and recovered the ark for the people of Israel. And as he's coming back into the city, he's dancing and praising the Lord. And his wife hates on him. Hates him in his heart. Jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. Then David returned to bless his household. And Michal, the daughter of Saul.
So David took care of the people and as the king, as a leader. And then now he's coming back and he's going to take care of his household. Read.
And Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, how glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of the handmaids of his servants, and one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncovered himself.
Read.
And David said unto Michal, it was before the Lord.
I did this before the Lord. I wasn't concerned about who was in the crowd. I was dancing and praising before the Lord. Read.
Which chose me before thy father. and before all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of the Lord, over Israel. Therefore will I play before the Lord.
Read.
And I will yet be more vile than dust.
David say, I'm going to turn up even more. I'm going to turn up even more for my God. If he blesses me to do a work and do a service for him, and I'm successful at doing that through his power, through his might, I'm going to praise my God even more. I'll be more vile. Read.
And will be base in mine own sight. And of the maidservants which thou hast spoken of them shall I be had in honor.
So if you don't want to pay me the proper respects, I'll get it from this. I'll get it from these other people. I get it from these sisters out here. Read.
Therefore, Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no child unto the day of her death.
Now, earlier we read in Genesis, the purpose of a woman was to be a help meet, for man. But this isn't help. This isn't help. And also, the woman was to assist a man in replenishing the earth by being fruitful. But guess what? Most High closed that womb. The Most High closed that womb. I don't even know if David dealt with her. It says she had no child until the day of her death. But that was the reason she was created. So guess what? She didn't live up to her purpose because of her attitude, because of her father, or because of the mother that raised her. As is the mother, so is the daughter. All right? So today, our women have been corrupted by this society. All right? Corruption has been going on since the book of Genesis. But today, it's even worse. All right, give me Job 9. Today, it's even worse because who's running the earth today? It's not us. It's not us running the earth in righteousness. It's the wicked. Read what you got.
The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24.
Read.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
So who is the earth given into the hand of? Who runs the earth? That's right, Esau, the devil. That's who runs the earth. That's who puts out all this garbage on social media. That's who puts out all this garbage on television, who puts these false images and standards of beauty in their magazines, on their movie screens. That's who has corrupted the mind of our daughters to think that they should aspire to have lighter skin and straight blonde hair. That's who does that. Read Ephesians 2 and chapter 2 and verse 1.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 2 and verse 1. And you had he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins, wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world. So that's what we were doing. We were walking according to this world that had been given into the hand of the wicked. We're going to clubs, drinking, drugs, fornicating, and all of that we learned from Esau. There's no man more perverse than Esau. All right? The man of sin. Read. According to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit. Read that part again. Read verse 2 again. Wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world. To the course of this world. The things that we see in this wicked world, we walked according to those things. Birthdays, Christmas, Mother's Day. We walked according to the course of this world. Read. According to the prince of the power of the air. The prince of the power of the air is Satan, a.k.a. Esau, a.k.a. the white man who is controlling our airwaves, who controls our radio stations, who controls our TV stations. All of that is controlled by the wicked. Read. The spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. And it's his spirit that's working in the children of disobedience. So when you see these mothers that's teaching their children to steal, it's okay to steal, it's okay to do all bird flipping and wear these tight shorts and whatever the case may be, that is the spirit of Satan. That's the spirit of the white man that you're rolling in. Read. Among whom also we all had our conversation in times past. Read. In the lust of our flesh. In the lust of our flesh, because there is no one that's more perverse than this man. Read. Fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath.
We became the children of wrath because unless we repent, God's wrath is coming to consume all of those that are not found keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
Even as others. But God, who is rich in mercy.
God, who is rich in mercy. Read.
For his great love, wherewith he loved us.
Now, when it says wherewith he loved us, he's talking about the children of Israel. 1 Kings 10 and 9. You ain't got to get it. 1 Kings 10 and 9. Read on.
Wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins.
Even when we were dead in sins, even when we were following after the course of this world, God still loved us. He still had already chose us. Read.
Had quickened us.
He has awakened us.
Together with Christ. By grace ye are saved.
Now, how did he do that? Give me Joel chapter 2. How did he awaken us? How did he awaken us through the Spirit of Christ? Joel chapter 2.
The book of Joel, chapter 2 and verse 27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel.
He's not in the midst of the globe. He's not in the midst of the cosmos, like some people would say. No, he's in the midst of Israel. Read.
And that I am the Lord your God. And none else.
And who?
None else.
None else. God is our God, the God of the Israelites, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, the sons of Jacob. He is our God, and who?
None else.
Read on.
And my people.
And who?
My people.
The nation of Israel.
Shall never be ashamed.
Once we come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, we will never be ashamed. Read on.
And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh.
So now we're coming from under the spirit of the prince of the power of air, and we're coming back to the spirit of the Lord. Read that again.
And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. And your son.
And who?
Your son.
Your sons.
And your daughters.
And your daughters, nation of Israel.
Shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions.
All praises to the Most High. That's how we know that this is our God, this is our Bible, and that he's dealing with us and us only. All right? So now that the Spirit has come back on us, the nation of Israel, we're prophesying. You see the brothers out on the streets. You see leadership traveling the globe, spreading the true gospel that the 12 tribes of Israel are the blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the diaspora. Now that you see that happening on the earth, let's see what else we are commanded to do. All right? Genesis 18:18.
The book of Genesis, chapter 18 and verse 18. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him.
So Abraham had a wife, Sarah, and eventually they are going to have Isaac. And God says, I know that he will command his children and his household. Let's get into how we command our children. Let's get into how we build them up, how we teach them, right? Deuteronomy chapter 6.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 1. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it.
So the Most High gave us instructions for wherever we find ourselves. No matter if we're in the land of our enemies, and at this time when we were preparing to go into the promised land, the Most High has always given us instructions on how to move. Verse 2.
That thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee.
For the purpose, read on.
Command thee, and thou, and thy son, and thy son's son.
So this is going to be in perpetuity. This is going to be perpetual. This is going to be from generation to generation, that fathers are teaching sons, and sons are teaching sons, on down the line. Read.
All the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged.
Jump down to verse 6.
And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart.
They should be in our hearts. They should be in our minds. Read on.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
Now remember, the class is Hast thou daughters. Hast thou daughters. I don't know if we showed the thumbnail. Officer, bring the thumbnail up for me. All right. Hast thou daughters from womb to wedding, right? And I want you to take a look. This is something that we got to do. We're teaching our children. You see on the top left, the brother is cradling his newborn. Then they're getting a little bit older. The father's with his daughter on the swing. Then you see a father. They're praying and reading together. And eventually, if it be the Lord's will, ultimately, is to get our daughters to the wedding so that they can do what they were created to do. From womb to wedding. All right? All right, take it down. Verse 7 again.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way.
So you saw on the thumbnail, the father was sitting down with his daughter. They were reading or praying or doing both together. The other picture was the father with his daughter on the swing. So at all times, it's an opportunity to teach these laws, statutes, and commandments to our daughters, to our children. This class is about the daughters. Read.
And when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes.
That should be our first thought. These laws, statutes, and commandments, they should be our first thought in how we deal with one another, how we deal in our relationships, how we deal in our business. These commandments are to guide us throughout all aspects of our life. All right? So now, Proverbs 22 and 16.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 16.
Read.
He that oppresseth the poor.
I'm sorry, Proverbs 22 and 6. My apologies.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 6.
Uh-huh.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Read that one more time.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
This is very important, right? This is very important in the instructions that we're going to give to our young children, because we have to start young. Because guess what? The world starts young with grooming our children in wickedness, in all manners of filth, in all manners of idolatry. They start early. So we've got to start early. All right. Now, I got a video I want to show about training up young daughters. Okay. You got that, Ati? All right, let's go.
Go ahead, Mama. Okay, so ladies, when you drop something, let's say I dropped my pencil. Oops, I dropped my pencil. It is so important to pick it up in a ladylike manner so that you don't expose yourself. We don't want to see your undies. You don't want to show your undies, right? Right, ladies? No. Is that ladylike to show your undies? No. Absolutely not. So this is what we will not do. Everybody looking at me. I dropped my pencil. I am not going to walk to it and walk in the front of it and squat. What happens when I squat? My legs are wide open, right?
And someone will see your pants.
So what you see is we have a instructor, and what she's doing is she's grooming our daughters in how to be modest, how to be ladylike, right? So, this was very prominent in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s. We would have these finishing schools, these charm schools, right? But all praises to the Most High. The wisdom is moving within IUIC. And guess what? We're now doing this even more so in righteousness. But I want to go back to the video because it's just a good point. It's a teaching tool, something that we should never get away from in teaching our daughters how to maneuver in this modern time.
My legs are wide open, right?
And someone will see your panties if you have a dress.
That's not good, right?
No.
Okay, so this is another thing that we're not going to do. We're not going to walk to it and bend over with all of your stuff just in someone's face. Is that ladylike? No. Now, here's what we're not going to do as well. You're not going to walk to the item and woo! Is that ladylike? Okay, so here is how, ladies, Amaya, come over so you can see me properly. Here is how a lady picks an item up from the floor. My pencil has fallen. I am going to, are you able to see it, Maya? Come over here for me, please. I am going to walk to the side of the item. Notice I can be on this side or that side. I'm wearing a dress, so I'm going to hold the hem of my dress so that when I go down, the dress doesn't rise. So what I'm going to do is hold the hem of my dress, go down gracefully, pick it up, and I am up. No exposure. I'm a perfect lady, right? Yeah! So let's do that one more time. Oops, I jumped my pencil.
Okay, that's good. Cut it right there.
So
That's
I'm
good.
going to-
All praises. So we got the gist of what was going on with the instruction. So this is I had another video, but that ran a little long. But we get the gist of how we need to instruct our daughters, okay? Because they are really going by the wayside, right? Give me 2 Maccabees 7:27.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 27. But she bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn.
So this cruel tyrant was persecuting the mother and her 7 sons, putting her sons to death one by one. Read on.
Spake in her country language on this manner, O my son, have pity upon me, that bear thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education.
So we're talking about a son, right? But this is a mother that said, I had you in my womb, and then I gave thee suck for 3 years. This woman has been nurturing her children since the womb, preparing them for this time, preparing them for life. And as we enter Jacob's troubles, you got to make sure that the womb you pick, the womb that you have, is righteous, and that it's for the purpose of building the nation of Israel. Read that last part again.
And endured the troubles of education.
So we must endure the troubles of educating our children, and specifically our daughters, right? Why the daughters? Because they're the first teachers. They are the first teachers, as in Titus 2. They teach the young women, they teach the children. They are the first teachers. They're the kids' corner. Who's teaching the children? Prophets are out on the street. Yeah, I know fathers are teaching their sons. I know they are. But the mothers are with them primarily in the early stages of their lives, especially while they're giving them suck. They're even still learning at that age. What are some of the avenues that we have now for teaching our children? All praises to the Most High. We got the Jacob's Hope Academy, right? We have our first academy where we are starting to instruct our children using our curriculum. All praises to the Most High. We have homeschooling, where parents can take a vested interest in the instruction and the curriculum that they are providing to their children, and they do not have to be at these public schools learning lies, seeing all kinds of wickedness from these other kids in school who do not have the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Also, there are other professionally enhancing schools to prepare our children for adulthood and ultimately to prepare them for rulership. The video that we just showed was something that was appropriate, age appropriate for our young daughters. But as we move further along, we have what we call the Ladies in Waiting program. Hey, cue that video.
Program and why it's so important to me is to have a opportunity to break some of the curses of the Daughters of Zion.
We definitely wanted to give the sisters something that we didn't have, like a structured guide on how to be a good wife, how to be a good mother,
A good sister. Now, as the program is ended, we expect the sisters to apply what have been taught to them in the program. Being a wife is not playing a role, is a calling from the Most High. The scripture said, let the young woman married bear kids and guide the house.
So it also teaches us to teach the women to be sober-minded, to take their marriage seriously,
Be discreet.
The men of Israel need wives that are worthy of being the helpmate of a God on earth. And so this program prepares the women of Israel to be proper wives, mothers, and pillars of rest. And so I'm excited about this program and what the future Daughters of Israel are going to be able to bring to the table. There is hope that change is coming.
Hey, all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Mothers of Israel taking part in the instruction of the daughters of Israel. And that's what it's all about. That's how we're going to build and repair our nation, through marriage, through holy and honorable marriage. All right. So now let's see some examples of that in the scriptures. All right. Give me history of Susanna. History of Susanna.
The book of history of Susanna, chapter 1 and verse 1. There dwelt a man in Babylon called Joachim, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, a very fair woman and one that feared the Lord.
So it says she was a very fair woman, but the biggest, her best quality was one that feared the Lord. Read on.
Her parents.
Who?
Her parents. Also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses.
And that's what we want. As Israel continues to grow, as we continue to repent, as time passes, you're going to start finding more second and sometimes even third generation families in the nation of Israel. And you want to make sure that, hey, I know that this sister was instructed. I see her father. I see her mother putting in work. I see them keeping the commandments. Read verse 3 again.
Her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses.
And for all you brothers that want to start the proving process, this right here, I'm not saying that a sister that comes in the truth by herself won't make a good rib, because guess what? These scriptures repairs us all, right? But when you have that reinforcement of parents that's also keeping these commandments, you know what I'm saying? That's just more encouragement. That's more support that you have to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments and not waver. Let's get Tobit chapter 1 and verse 8.
The book of Tobit chapter 1 and verse 8. And the third I gave unto them, to whom it was meet, as Deborah my father's mother had commanded me.
So Tobit was taking care of his brothers and sisters. He shared what he had with his brothers and sisters who were in need, who had want, right? And then it says, as it was meet, and it says, as who?
As Deborah, my father's mother,
my grandmother,
had commanded me.
So Tobit was in a third generation household. His grandmother was giving him instructions on keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
Because I was left an orphan by my father. Furthermore, when I was come to the age of a man, I married Anna of my own kindred, and of her I begot Tobias.
So Deborah, Tobit's grandmother, even instructed him, hey, when you get married, you marry a woman of your own kindred so that our seed will prosper, right? That came from a woman who understood righteousness, who understood the law, statutes, and commandments, who understood nation building. She instructed her grandson, Tobit, on how to move, on how to marry, on how to deal with his brothers and his sisters, how to deal with the poor. We must have commandment-keeping families if this nation is going to thrive and return back to our greatness. All right? So now, as our daughters get older, we must make sure that we are on guard for their virtue, right? Ecclesiastes 7. Verse 1.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 1.
Read.
A good name,
Hey, what?
a good name
Uh-huh.
is better than precious ointment.
So having a good name is better than precious ointment. What did it say about Judah's parents? That they were righteous. They had a good name. What did it say about Tobit's grandmother, Deborah? That she commanded him, and it was manifest by the actions and how he dealt with his people. That's establishing a good name. What is good? The scriptures, the commandments. All right? Read it again.
A good name is better than precious ointment,
Uh-huh.
and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
Because if you die maintaining that good name, that is good. But being born, you got to go through all those trials, and you may or may not keep your good name. But if you keep that good name to the day of death is better than the day you were born. All right? So let's get an example of a sister who was a bit wayward. All right? Give me Genesis 34. Today we have our young daughters with a lot more liberty because, you know, we have cars today. We got social media today, internet, whatever the case may be, going to public schools, colleges, jobs. Our daughters are a bit more, I won't say unrighteous. I'll just say that there's more liberty. There's more of an opportunity for them to fall. Let's see what happens to one of our foremothers who has such liberty.
The book of Genesis, chapter 34 and verse 1. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land.
She went out to see the daughters of the land. Read on.
And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her.
And that's what happened. She was laid with and then she was defiled. Why? Because she wants to go out and see where the girls are at. What's happening in the hood. All right? I'm not saying that it was right or what happened, but I'm saying that when you put yourself in those situations, you open yourself up. Just like being on those college campuses, going out with friends and somebody slipping something in your drink. You have to be around godly people all the time, or you open yourself up to potential harm. All right? So how do we handle stuff like that? How do we help secure our daughters? Give me 2 Ezra chapter 2 and verse 22. 2 Ezra chapter 2 and verse 22.
The book of 2 Ezra chapter 2 and verse 22.
Read.
Keep the old and young within thy walls.
Keep them within your walls. Keep them where you have eyes on them. Keep them in the control of your people. I'm not saying that they can't go out. I'm not saying that they're not allowed to go to school, but make sure that you have a watch over your daughters. Read Sirach 42 and 11. Make sure that you have visibility over your daughters, that you have chaperones when it comes time for proving. Somebody with a good name, with a good report, who fears the Lord and won't allow your daughter to be defiled if you entrust them to her.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 42 and verse 11.
Read.
Keep a sure watch.
What type of watch?
A sure watch.
A sure watch. One that you have confidence in. One that holds fast to these commandments. Read.
Over a shameless daughter.
Uh-huh.
Lest she make thee a laughingstock to thine enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude.
And how would she do that? Because she goes out and she gets a name, a reputation, as Gomer did in the book of Hosea. Remember, Hosea didn't have to go and search out a harlot. He went right to Gomer. You don't want your daughter to be a Gomer, okay? You want your daughter to have a good name. You want her to remain undefiled until the time of her wedding. So let's get that Google, all praises. Let's get this right here. This is an article I came across. I heard this said once before in a class by one of our leaders, and so I thought this was very fitting to put into this class. So I'm gonna need you to read this.
A nation is measured by its women.
So it says a nation is measured by its women. It's measured by its women. Read on.
The idea that a nation is measured by its women suggests that a country's development, success, and moral strength are directly linked to the status and treatment of its women and girls.
So based upon how we deal with our women, based upon their develop, based on the development of a country, our success and moral strength is directly linked to the status and treatment of its women and girls. How? Because they are our first teachers. They are the mothers, primarily the educators in this nation. They're the ones running the home schools. They're the ones running public schools. So based upon how we deal with these women is what's going to determine the development and success and the moral strength of a nation. Read that next line.
This is reflected in how women's inclusion in politics and society, their education and rights, and their general security and justice impact national progress.
Okay, so the part that I want to deal with that I want to deal with in there is this is dealing with the general security and justice and the impact that has on national progress. So women, politics, all that, their education and rights, hey, we're all for that. Politics and being out in the society, hey, if that's what you do, that's what you do. But your purpose was to be a helpmeet to your man and to bear fruitful children, righteous children. That's what you were called to do. If you go off and you do all those other things, there's no sin in that. But remember why you were created. All right? You can take that down. So now, let me get Proverbs 22 and 16. Proverbs 22 and 6 again.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
So one thing that we want to train our daughters in is their diet. We got all kinds of classes on that, all types of help. Now in the ladies in waiting program, the sisters are now also being required to burn the fat. So having a care for your meats, having a care for the dainty things, these are all things that we got to do as a father. Hey, I go back to what the premise of this class is. Sirach chapter 7 and verse 24. Has thou daughters? Have a care for their bodies. We got to make sure that they're eating right, that their hygiene is right. Okay? They're dressing. Give me Deuteronomy 22 and 5.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
The Most High views cross-dressing, women wearing what pertains to men, men wearing what pertains to women. He views that as an abomination, okay? Our daughters should not be wearing pants. They should be not wearing short shorts. They should not be wearing clothing that is revealing to their bodies. Give me 1 Timothy 2 and 9. Give me that real quick.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 9. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
That's how ladies dress, in modest apparel. If you remember the video of the instructor teaching the young daughters how to gracefully pick up an item that they dropped off the floor. This is something that goes more into grace. How you dress, what you're wearing, how you conduct yourselves. Okay? Did you finish that?
No, sir.
Read it.
With shamefacedness and sobriety.
With shamefacedness and sobriety. Shamefacedness, you're not up in every man's face. You're not loud and obnoxious, right? So how should you be, right? How should a woman be when it comes to her decorum, her behavior, all right? Let's get Proverbs chapter 31. All right, this whole book, Proverbs 31, is going into what women should aspire to be, all right? The Proverbs 31 woman. I'm just going to pick this one dealing with how our women talk, all right? Verse 26.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 26. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness.
Because it's in a woman's mouth to build up her children, to encourage and support her husband, or to pluck her house down. She can do all of that. The woman has the voice that can chase away the enemies or make a brother want to dwell on a housetop. You sitting in front of your car with a hot beer, like, man, I got to go inside and deal with this dragon. Right? Proverbs 15:1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 1. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
We must teach our daughters how to communicate with their future husbands, how to communicate with their parents, how to communicate among themselves. Read it again.
A soft answer turneth away wrath.
You don't have to go railing for railing with your brothers or your sisters, with your husbands who you're supposed to be in subjection under. That's the training that the daughters must receive. You learn that first to show that reverence to your father, and then when he passes that authority on to your future husband, you already have that understanding on how to reverence the man that's placed above you. Read.
But grievous words.
But all this backbiting, all this I got an opinion too, this 50-50 mindset. Read.
Stir up anger.
It stirs up anger. All right. Give me 1 Peter 3:1-6.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 3. Blessed be the God and
1 Peter chapter 3.
1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husband.
This is what we're training our daughters to be. This is what a woman was created to be, was to be a help. And to be a help, meaning that that man is the head and you are the help. You must be in subjection, and we must teach our daughters this at home. Read.
That if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
Heaven forbid one of our daughters marries a brother that is in the world or that falls. Guess what? It's up to these women to bring them back, to help restore them. Read that again.
They also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
If the wife is in the spirit, she could win that husband over through her righteous conversation. Keep reading.
While they behold your chaste conversations coupled with fear.
Fear of the Lord. Read.
Whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting of the hair and of wearing of gold, or of putting on of apparel.
It's not your Chanel, your Louis, your Birkin. It's not your outer adornment. Read on.
But let it be the hidden man of the heart.
Let it be the hidden man of the heart. Read on.
And that which is not corruptible.
That which follows these commandments, that has fear and reverence toward the Lord and his commandments and the order that he set up. Read on.
Even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit.
A meek, meaning obedient, and quiet spirit. Read on.
Which is in the sight of God of great price.
This is that mind well instructed. This is the daughters, the future wives that's going to help us rebuild and grow this nation. That's what we're seeking after. That's the training that we must give to our daughters and enforce once we become husbands and they become wives. Read on.
For after this manner, in the old time, the holy woman.
What
also,
women?
The holy woman.
Holy women. Read on.
Also, who trusted in God.
They didn't lean unto their own understanding. They didn't go by what their mother said. They didn't go by what their girlfriend said. Girl, you got to do what? You got to keep his house. You got to have fear in the Lord and trust in him that his instructions are wiser than our own thoughts. Read on.
Adorn themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
The Most High said that's an adornment. That's a jewel of righteousness. When you adorn yourself in subjection to your own husband. Read.
Even as Sarah
obeyed
Abraham, calling him Lord.
She called him Lord. There's no problem saying my landlord, or when you watch all these movies and you see back in medieval times when they addressed each other as Lord, well, guess what? You're looking at the true lords. You're looking at the sons of God. That's who you're looking at now. And it's reverence when our wives refer to us as Lord, just like Sarah did for Abraham. Read on.
Whose daughters ye are,
As is the mother, so is the daughter. Read.
as long as ye do well.
You are a daughter of Sarah as long as you do well. Read on.
And are not afraid with any amazement.
And you're not afraid, you're not embarrassed, you're not amazed when you say my Lord in public or when you say it around your worldly family. There's no amazement, there's no fear in that because you trust in the Lord. Hey, give me Esther chapter 2. Esther chapter 2, verse 5. So our foremother Esther was an orphan, and she was raised by her cousin Mordecai. Esther chapter 2, verse 5.
The book of Esther, chapter 2 and verse 5. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shemel, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem.
Hey, you notice how that brother put that emphasis on Benjamite? All praises. Go ahead, bro.
Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Read.
And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter.
His uncle's daughter, his cousin. Read.
For she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
So we got a scripture that says be a father to the fatherless, right? And that's what Mordecai did. Now just imagine if Mordecai said, well, that's not my child, that's just my cousin. Just imagine if Mordecai just let Esther go parentless, without guidance, without a hedge, without instruction. Where would the nation of Israel be? On the gallows that Haman prepared for us, right? So it's important that we gather our daughters, that we train our daughters, these single sisters that we have in the congregation, that we view. Matter of fact, give me that in Timothy real quick. Verse 1.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 5 and verse 1.
Read.
Rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father, and the younger men as brethren.
Read.
The elder women as mothers.
We're supposed to treat the elder women in this congregation as mothers. We know that we have mothers, right? We got Mother Shamar, Mother Anna, Mother Parya. We have mothers. We have the mothers of the deacons as well. But these elder women, we are to regard them as mothers, to treat them like our own mothers, to care for them, help them during tabernacles, set up their tents, carry some of their heavy stuff to make sure that they're taken care of. Read on.
The younger as sisters.
And the who?
The younger as sisters.
And the younger as sisters. We're to treat them like sisters, right? But there's also, as we get older, we're going to have younger women that are now the ages of our daughters or even our granddaughters. So we have to regard them in such a manner. We have to make sure that they're doing the right thing. Okay? Go back.
The book of Esther, chapter 2 and verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother.
Okay, so she had neither father nor mother. Now, I want you to think about that. Esther's role in saving the nation of Israel. And if Mordecai had just said, you know what? She's not my daughter. She's not my concern. All right? So now, what happened if Esther just ran wild? Cue the video.
What's it?
Hey, that's heartbreaking. When you look at that, I mean, you can make light out of it, make light of it, make fun of it, or whatever the case may be. But I look at that and I just see a destroyed nation. Remember the article that we just read? It says you can tell a nation by the quality of their women. That's the state of Israel right there. That's the future mothers, the future wives. That's our nation right there. So it's up to us. We got a mighty work before us to fix this broken nation, to repair the breaches. All right? That's what happens in wickedness. Give me Sirach chapter 26.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26 and verse 22. And harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband.
So what you saw in that video was supposedly it was two women that were fighting over a man. Two women fighting over a man. And that's how they treated one another, like spittle. That's how they regarded one another. Then it was a free-for-all, a whole melee, right? But it says, read the last part, a married woman.
But a married woman is a tower against death to her husband.
When we read that, it says a married woman is a tower against death. A lot of times we think that it's only the life or death of a husband. But guess what? If you out there dealing wickedly, you yourself could be put to death. And guess what? Now that man has no helpmeet. Right? So, Leviticus 19:29.
The book of Leviticus.
And we're getting close to wrapping it up.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter.
Do what?
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore.
Don't let her dress any kind of way. Don't let her hang out anytime, a day or night. Don't let her have boys over or sleep over, God forbid. Don't allow your daughters to do these things. Why?
Lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness.
And that's what you saw in that video we just watched. The land fell to whoredom because we got two sisters fighting over the same brother, two young daughters fighting over the same brother, and now the land is falling into wickedness. Guess what? That's more than likely not over. There's going to be some clapback. They're going to, hey, I see you, I'm going to catch you somewhere, and they're going to slide on them. And they're going to get, and it's going to go down again. And it could escalate. It could become knives. It could become guns. It could become more. Men could start getting involved. This thing escalates. The land falls into much wickedness because of whoredom, because we're not training our daughters to save themselves from marriage. All right? So now, let's see what happens when we do save our daughters. Go back to Sirach 26. Sirach 26 is a really good chapter on dealing with marriage, honorable women, because it shows both sides, good and bad. Verse 1.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26 and verse 1.
Read.
Blessed is a man that hath a virtuous wife.
It's our job to make these young daughters become virtuous wives, to groom them, to prepare them, and educate them on how to become a virtuous wife. Read.
For the number of his days shall be doubled.
So think about this. You got a prophet that's out there. Think about the mighty men that's putting their works around the world. Guess what? Guess if we can double their lives, we can double their works. And we can only do that if we make sure that they have a virtuous wife. Read on.
A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the goal. The goal is to reestablish peace on this earth, and we can't do that until we subdue it with the laws of God. And we need virtuous women who fear God, who love their people, who want to see righteousness brought back on this earth. Read.
A good wife.
A what?
A good wife
is
a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord.
Go over to verse 14.
Verse 14. A silent and loving woman.
Read verse 13.
The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones.
What you saw in that video was the complete opposite of discretion, right? So a good wife knows how to exercise discretion. Read on.
A silent and loving woman.
She knows when to talk. She knows when to be around her husband. Read.
is a gift of the Lord.
Read.
And there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
And whose responsibility is it to instruct these daughters? It's our responsibility. As thou daughters, it's our responsibility. What happens when we have that sort of peace in the earth? All right. Give me Zechariah chapter 8. Zechariah chapter 8.
The book of Zechariah chapter 8 and verse 4. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem.
So think about this. Imagine an older man or older woman walking up that street where all those girls were fighting. Do you think that they would care? Do you think that they would say, wait a minute, let's stop, let's respect our elders, let's make sure that we don't do any of this foolishness and injure one of them? No. But here, when we have righteousness back on the earth, read.
And every man with his staff in his hand for very age. And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof.
Fighting in the streets?
Playing
in the streets. Read.
In the streets thereof. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people.
If it be something that's hard to imagine, wow, this is a marvelous thing for the remnant, those that kept the law, statutes, and commandments. Read.
In these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes? Saith the Lord of hosts.
Read.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country.
We will be saved out of the mindset of the east and the west. We're going to be saved out of the mindset of this Babylon. We're going to be literally saved. We're going to be brought back to our own land, and we're going to be put in a place where we can have this peace. That's what we're striving for. All right.
You want to verse 8?
Verse 8, yes.
And I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness.
And that is the goal, to be back under our God and to be back as his people. All right, waking back up as the sons and daughters in our own land. Okay, so we're getting ready to wrap this up. I want to lead this off with, remember we started with the womb into the wedding. So one thing that we got to train our daughters in, Numbers 30. Numbers chapter 30, we have to prepare them for this. Numbers chapter 30, verse 1.
The book of Numbers chapter 30 and verse 1. And Moses spake unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Lord had commanded. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeded out of his mouth.
The Most High expects us to honor our words. All right, read on.
If a woman also vow a vow unto the Lord, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house.
She's still a daughter. Read.
In her youth. And the father hear the vow and her bond wherewith she had bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her. Then all her vows shall stand.
So if a daughter vows a vow in her father's house, and the father hears it, and he lets it stand, then her vow stands. Read.
And every bond wherewith she had bound her soul shall stand.
And every bond shall stand. Read.
But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she had bound her soul shall stand.
But the father has all authority to rescind her vows or her bonds. That's the authority that the father gave in Sirach 3. That's the authority that a father has over his children. All right, verse 6.
And if she had at all an husband.
So now she's become a wife. This is the reason while a father hands his daughter over to her husband because he is transferring that authority. This is why the woman takes the last name of the man, because she's now falling under his authority. Read.
And if she had at all an husband, when she vowed or uttered oath of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it and held his peace at her, in the day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand.
Right. So if the husband heard her make a vow, just like the father did, or a bond, and he let it go, then it's going to stand. But in verse 9, it says,
but every vow of a widow, and
correction, finish verse 8. Verse 8, I'm sorry.
Verse 8. But if her husband disallowed her on the day he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect.
So the husband has the same authority as the father had before the marriage. The exact same authority. That's why you call your husband Lord. And for you sisters that want to hold on to that 50-50 mindset, or you want to hyphenate your names, give me Psalms 45 and 10. And we're almost there. One more after this.
The book of Psalms, chapter 45 and verse 10.
Hearken,
O daughter, and consider and incline thine ear. Forget also thine own people and thy father's house.
So drop that hyphenated name. You are now the possession. He who getteth a wife beginneth a possession. You are now the possession, a rightful possession, a righteous possession, not one to be mistreated, not one to treat as a servant, but a godly marriage between a husband and a wife. Drop that hyphenation. That's all that is of Esau, all that is of the world. Don't hyphenate your name. You take your husband's name. All right? Verse 11.
So shall the king greatly desire thy beauty, for he is thy Lord, and worship thou him.
So forget your father's house and put your focus and your attention onto your husband. Now let's close out where we began. Sirach 7.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 7 and verse 24. Hast thou daughters?
Hast thou daughters?
Have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them.
Remember, when the Most High said to Moses, if her father had but spit in Miriam's face when she was murmuring and talking about Moses, if her father had corrected her sternly. So we have to have a care for our daughters, and we can't always show ourselves cheerful. Not saying that you can't enjoy your daughters, that you can't laugh and smile with them, but we have to be austere and strict, because they are going to play a major part in the development and the advancement of our nation. Read on.
Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter.
And that is the duty of every husband, to get his daughter to marriage. Now, not every daughter will marry, and there's no sin in that, as it says in 1 Corinthians 7. However, by marrying our daughters, we have accomplished a weighty matter. Read.
But give her to a man of understanding.
And we ourselves can't be hasty to credit. We got to make sure that the brothers that we say yes to in dealing with our daughters, that this brother has understanding. He knows why he was created. He understands what a wife was created for. Read on.
Hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a light woman.
That's your responsibility, brothers. Just because she looks good don't mean that she's ready to be a wife, that she's ready to be a mother in the nation of Israel. Read.
Honor thy father with thy whole heart, and forget not the sorrows of thy mother.
Because your father and your mother are the ones who brought you into this world. They've instructed you. They've given you the instructions in righteousness on how to move as a daughter and how to become a righteous wife. Read.
Remember that thou was begotten of them, and how can thou recompense them for the things that they have done for thee?
The only way you can recompense your parents is by repeating the cycle of righteousness. Okay, that's been my time. I've been Officer Asahel. This has been IUIC in the classrooms, IUIC Austin, and Shalom, Most High Christ bless.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models.